This is our part 2, which we'll be talking about horse slaughter, the 4 perspective. We are group 6, and my name is Unida Velarde.
And hello, everybody. My name is Angel Barrera. And let's get into it.
So, economic reasons for horse slaughter. So, large populations of unwanted and wild horses. Care costs are high, expensive, like feed, farrier work, and veterinary visits add up quickly, and many owners struggle to keep up. So, horse slaughter offers a practical solution to the growing financial pressure caused by the large number of unwanted, abandoned, and wild horses. Caring for a horse is extremely expensive, and many owners simply cannot afford long-term costs like feed, farrier work. Veterinary care being the most expensive. Because of this, thousands of horses end up in neglected or surrendered each year. At the same time, government agencies spend over $100 million annually managing wild horse populations on public lands, which strains taxpayer resources. Allowing regulated slaughter creates a market for horses with little economic value, helping stabilize prices while also reducing abandonment. And instead of letting horses suffer in the wild or being euthanized, slaughter provides a way for these animals to be used for meat or other products, lowering the waste and financial burns on both private owners and the government. So instead of a horse dying in the wild, like being attacked by an animal, this horse could be rescued and used for meat and other byproducts.
And so in terms of food sources, obviously horse meat is considered taboo, so it's not culturally accepted everywhere. But where it is accepted, it's very highly valued, and it's high quality, and many people feel like it's efficient because you don't need the pasture that you would with cattle, or you wouldn't need the same type of maintenance and care that you would with pork. One of the big things about horse meat is definitely its nutritional value. For starters, it's a really dense meat. It's very lean, and it surpasses traditional livestock like pork and beef in terms of nutrients, whether it be micronutrients and macronutrients. For example, in terms of protein, horse meat surpasses both beef and pork in terms of protein. Horse meat also has a lower fat content, which also includes saturated fat, so it is heart healthier. In terms of micronutrients, horse meat is very, very rich in iron, which is very good for the bloodstream. B vitamins, which is very good for metabolizing and helping give energy to your muscles when producing hypertrophy-based movements. And it's also rich in omega-3, which is very good for your heart. Countries like Belgium, Japan, and other nations don't consider horse meat taboo. In fact, it's the opposite. For them, it's considered part of their culinary traditions. It goes back centuries. A lot of these nations don't view horse the same way that we do. I feel like we put horses in a very pet-friendly lens. Instead, they treat it like it's livestock. It's similar to cattle. They treat it like pork, beef, and other livestock. Examples of this is Japan. They even include raw horse meat just like they would with sushi, and they make it part of their diet. And they consider this acceptable as opposed to the United States.
So regulations make horse slaughter safer and more controlled. So supporters of legal horse slaughter in the U.S. argued that one of its main advantages is the ability to regulate the process. Regulation ensures that the welfare of the horse is a priority, that they are treated with respect throughout the slaughter process. With proper oversight from the USDA, horses can be processed in controlled facilities. This reduces the risk of injuries, stress that often occur during long-distance transportation to different plants around the world. A regulated system allows officials to monitor each horse health, handling and transport. Tracking and oversight make the process more transparent and accountable, giving both the public and the government confidence that horses are managed responsibly. Facilities are required to follow a strict welfare guidance. Supporters note that these regulations create conditions that are much safer and more ethical than those in some unregulated slaughter plants abroad. Having regulations in place also helps reduce the chances of horses being neglected, mishandled, by ensuring proper care during transportation and processing. The system protects the animal that might otherwise face dangerous or uncertain circumstances. Supporters also believe that regulated slaughter in the U.S. can serve as a model for humane animal processing. It shows that slaughter can be done responsibly, balancing economic needs with ethical treatment. Overall, legal and regulated horse slaughter provides a safer, more accountable, and ethical controlled system. Supporters argue that it protects the animal's welfare, reduces the risk of abuse and neglect, and ensures transparency and public confidence in the process. And a lot of people are agreeing to this now because they would rather have a horse who is gonna die anyways, like a wild horse out in the wild, to be used as meat or other byproducts. Another example could involve a group of wild horses on public land. These horses may be overpopulated, and the government spends millions of taxpayer dollars each year to manage them. Without a regulated market for horse slaughter, some of these animals could face starvation, be injured. And with a regulated slaughter system, these horses can be safely processed, which will reduce their suffering and ensuring that each of the horses are treated ethically and with respect. Also, consider a horse that has been injured or is no longer unprofitable for its owner. In many cases, these horses are at risk of being neglected because the owner cannot afford ongoing care, and sometimes the owners simply just stop caring about the animal because there's no profit. They won't be getting any profit out of these animals. A legal regulated outlet provides a responsible option that ensures that the horse's welfare is prioritized instead of facing an uncertain fate. The horse is handled humanely and the process is being monitored. These real world examples help support and argue that regulated horse slaughter is not only practical, but it's more ethical than unregulated alternatives. By providing a controlled, monitored, and humane treatment, the system can protect horses from neglect, stress, and unsafe conditions while still serving economic needs.
So for current practices and exports, so the USDA no longer does inspections for any types of horse meat production facilities. So because there's no USDA inspections, in turn that means that there can no longer possibly be any any horse meat production companies or plants allowed in U.S. soil. Although it's not allowed on U.S. soil, it's still able to be consumed by by people from the United States, and it also means that export is still legal for purposes of consumptions to other countries. So what this means is once the horses are ready to be gathered, instead of being slaughtered here in the United States, instead they are gathered, transported to other countries like Mexico and Canada, in where they get processed and the meat gets shipped off to other countries where the horse meat is part of their normal diet and cuisine. Places like these include Japan, Belgium, France, and Italy, just to name some. It also actually circulates its way back to America if you are able to get your hands on it. So American horses all end up on dinner tables all across the globe. But the U.S. government doesn't really see any of that money, because most of the money goes to corporations that are from other countries, such as Canada and Mexico, which shouldn't happen. Instead, if horse slaughterhouses were allowed in the United States, it would be a lot safer and more controlled. Right now, the horses leave the country, and the U.S. Has no say on how the transport goes, the treatment the animals are probably subjected to, or how the meat gets handled, because there is no USDA policies that are in place, meaning no one really knows what the quality of the meat is once they are produced and distributed. If it were in the United States, obviously it would have to be regulated by the USDA, which would make sure that all of the meat adheres to very strict policy and ensures that it is safe for consumption, not only for the United States, but throughout the entire world. Apart from this, the U.S. would also profit by being able to tax all these food and hopefully be able to invest it back into its people. The next slide is the list of our sources. Please feel free to take a further look into our sources. I want to thank you all for your time, and have a great night. Thank you.